Hi guys, this is Sidney. So in this video today, I'm trying something new, which is I'm sharing what I'm eating for dinner today. So somehow since 2 days ago, my spirit team has been giving me constantly this, feeding me with this message and idea to share about the foods and the diet shifts and everything. And as I was meditating, it's because of the energetic shift that is taking place in the collective since the 111 portal. So a lot of people may be experiencing dietary change, or that it is necessary for people to or certain individuals to shift their diet into a certain to match the energetic vibration that their physical body is shifting into. Also, a lot of people may start to experience or have been experiencing, they may not talk about it in public, or they may go through this in private, but certain physical symptoms or a lot of cancer issues within their physical body, that is part of the karmic release. So every organ stores different energies. For example, like liver, kidney, like they hold a lot of fear, and different parts are related to that. So they may be diagnosed with these kind of symptoms, especially, and also as part of current environments that we are living in, with a lot of environmental toxicity, the systems, the manipulation in the food chain, where we no longer cannot trust the source of the food just by going out to the grocery store and getting vegetables. Everything is pesticized. And when I think about it, or wake up more to it, ever since my journey that really took on this intense dietary shift and cleaning up, and as I shared before, I'm going back and forth, meaning like sometimes I know I'm on a very clean diet, and sometimes I eat a lot and then I suffer, even though it's good source of food, and all kinds of issues in the bodies are also coming up as part of cleansing and aligning our chakras. And so they want me to share my experiences, I think, to help people who may be having these ideas as part of their soul journey right now, or that they need some sort of guidance or reference to relate to. So basically, at the end of 2021, I was diagnosed with 0-stage breast cancer all of a sudden, which I shared in my story. So I'm going to share that link in the description box down below for anyone resonating and wanting to connect further. And since then, I started to do a lot of research on diets, and what I chose to do based on my research, I chose not to go through the radiation therapy or any pills or medication that the hospital recommended. But it's not like recommended, but it's like more of like a package. So while I was in that hospital experience, I also noticed and recognized all of this is like more like a package deal. And when I asked doctors certain questions based on the research that I have done, I've noticed that they're just answering because they're in a position of authority, that they feel like they have to have answers. But they weren't really sure, but they weren't saying they don't know, but they kind of deviated a question or explained, because assuming that I don't know much, but because they don't know, I did a lot of research. So that was very interesting. So I understand how all the system is working, right? Or experienced it, that is all part of the big pharma system where doctors and nurses are just trained to be like, they say salespeople for medications and everything. So basically all the vaccines and medications, when I checked all the ingredients, they're not naturally sourced, and that basically some things I needed because of the surgery, but I had to, like, a lot of the chemicals were put into my body. And after that, I experimented with this hormone control pill that they recommend to, just basically based on research. This is just like what everyone is doing if they choose not to go through this traditional methods or this current system. That I was doing juicing, fasting intensely, and then just eating a lot of raw foods, perhaps like 85-90% raw at the time, because, in a way, out of desperation, out of fear, and then out of also this new awakening that I really need to do this cleanup of the physical body. And then I was doing regular, not like going to the gym, but going to the nature and then going uphill and taking a walk and meditate and ground my energy. So like for about a month or two, I felt this high energy, even though I'm not eating as much as before. But then at the same time, I felt a little bit of a lack of energy due to certain aspects. So I needed to go through different phases. So definitely on a mental level, I had a lot of clear vision. The brain just got really cleared up, and just the cloudiness is gone. So whenever I'm fasting, that is what is happening, and a lot of people may experience this, like clarity in the mind. So basically I started to go on that journey at the end of 2021. So I started to do a lot of research, and all of a sudden Dr. Sebi showed up on my feed, and so I started researching about a lot of the foods that were having effects on with alkalizing energies and acidic. And so I was doing all like alkaline diets, and then drinking like a lot of like mineral water, basically, because I wanted to push out all the chemicals. And then I studied that how long it would take to remove these medications. So I experimented with that, taking the hormonal pill due to high estrogen level that they said I have, so that it is to prevent recurring of this the symptom. And after I researched, no wonder we all have high estrogen, because it's all plastics and chemicals and everything. It's just basically everything that we put in and we are exposed to. And so just about after 5 weeks, it started to have a toll on my body. I woke up in the middle of the night, just on an extreme pain in my this lower stomach area, and then just like a knot. And that was the pain that I had to go through because of this manipulation that they were chemically doing to lower certain levels of lower estrogen level, and that's based on my research that was messing up the whole hormonal system, because hormones are communicators within our body. So it's connecting the liver, which is the growth hormones, and then it's connecting the brain and all this heart and all these different organs. It's like a communicator. And they're, estrogen, progesterone, and then testosterone. I'm not like an expert on this, but it's just started to mess up the natural flow. So basically it was just a quick fix or a manipulation, and the ingredients of that pill was like animal sourced, and then the things that I couldn't read, which is like chemicals, basically lab made. So I'm putting in more chemicals into my body out of fear, and all these fears from the doctors. You always have a choice, they say, but then if you don't do this and that, so it's putting people to the corner. So I stopped taking the medication, and I decided not to go through the radiation that they recommended, and then started to go on this food or diet cleaning detoxifying journey. So basically I think that's what I'm going to talk about for now. So today I shared a little bit about my smoothie, and today yesterday I had a little bit of leftover, the cooked quinoa, and then I had all these raw vegetables that chopped up, parsley, carrots, what's inside here. And then I have the seaweed here, and a bit of onion, raw garlic, chopped it fine, and then avocado, tomatoes, cucumbers, all the vegetables that I had. And then I sprinkle some, what is this? A mustard seed. Because a lot of the so-called vegan products or organic products, when you look at the label and the ingredients, you will find a lot of preservatives that are chemicals, and so I chose not to take them. So I missed the mustard that I used to love, so I'm just using the raw mustard seed here, and then sprinkle, and then I putting some quinoa, the chopped beets, and then I have this little dried fruit. What is this called? It's wolfberry. Okay, and then with olive oil, and then I use Celtic sea salt, and then I had a bit of Brazil nuts inside here, and I take a few whenever I'm eating seaweed. And yesterday I had this with seaweed, just dried seaweed, as like a wrap, and I love that, eating that way. And one of the things that I found based on my research was that a lot of these cancers that people are having, the iodine has a huge role to play, and then it's hyperactive or hypoactive, and we no longer have iodine from salt or milk, because it's pasteurized. And I studied the whole, like, the history of how they were doing this since the like 1920s or something like that. And before, the doctors would just prescribe certain things, and then people will cure from certain natural sources. But after all this giant corporations start to come in, they with backing up medical schools or universities, sponsoring them, or being giving out sponsors to students. That's how the systems are all built. So they start to have influence or voice or the power over the curriculum of the school teachings, and that's how they started to build control over the system, basically over the education system that was leading into all the medical system, the pharmaceuticals, and then so on and so on. And it's leading to, it's connected to the political system, the financial system. Everything is interconnected, and it's all about the money right now. And so I'm just going to digress here and there, just free flowing. So I'm just guided to somehow record this and share what I'm eating and share a bit of, this kind of things, the stories or the experiences that I have. So the purpose or the intention behind it isn't to share or tell people that this is wrong, this is right, and that's bad, that's good, but it's just to sort of introduce to some of my perspectives that I gained through my experiences, and people may not resonate or relate because everybody has a unique experience and journey and perspective, therefore. But for those of you who are going to resonate and relate or somehow needed this, I'm sharing for those individuals, even though if it's just the one person at this time. So I have some, I chopped up some asparagus and this local vegetables here together to just mix. And then I was craving to get some mushroom today. So I went grocery shopping earlier today, and then also basically with the Brazil nut, because I'm seeing the Brazil nut here. From my research, what I learned is in order for our body to absorb iodine, we need selenium. So Brazil nut is a very good source of selenium. So I just eat them together. And then I tend to soak all the nuts in the water for certain times, especially like walnuts, almonds, all the seeds, before I make the nut milk, is because they contain certain toxins that's really inhibiting the digestive tract. So based on my research, once again, that's what I'm practicing and experimenting once again with my body. And most of my life, I suffered from low iron level, and then really like dropping of like white blood cells at a certain point when I was working in the corporate or that structure. At one point I was really highly stressed, and I was going through a lot of like stuff, taking on a lot of karma as well. And so there was one point where I had to quit this job where I was like almost working every night until midnight, and then I had to go back to the office by 9 o'clock in the morning. So basically I was sleep deprived, and then also very much like having chronic fatigues, and then a lot of stress, and all of that. And then at the same time I was at the like late 20s, and I was like so confused about the career or the industry I wanted to work in, and I felt like I needed to have the answer or have things figured out, and all this like mental stress. And so all of a sudden I couldn't, like, because of the extreme back pain, I couldn't sit straight, and it was so excruciating. And I went to the doctors, And then my heart was like really like beating really fast all the time, and I had no energy even though I was eating. And then even though I was trying to sleep, I couldn't sleep because I was like, there were a lot of things on my head. I was thinking a lot, and I was feeling tired. Everything was like really bad, and that it was all out of stress, and they couldn't find the reason. And then I needed a lot of iron. And this lifetime, when I look at my chart in the Korean or the Chinese chart, not the astrology, but also astrology may tell something, but like mostly from that, what I discovered is that I have, I lived with cold feet and cold hands in this lifetime, and it was because of the poor blood circulation that my body naturally has. So the circulation is very key and important in my life. And so because of that, so back then the doctor recommended the source of iron was red meat. So I started to incorporate more red meat back then. That was like a long time ago, and it wasn't improving, and it got worse and worse. So I ended up quitting that job, and then I had to go through like rehab instead of having a surgery on the back. I chose to go through that exercise program where I build more muscle in my stomach to support the back and all of that. So I was basically in bed for about a month. I couldn't get out of bed because every time I stand up or walking or move, it was hitting the nerves, and it was extremely painful. And so while I was in bed, it also pushed me to a lot of spiritual awakening at the time, because I had to face a lot of issues of death and fear, fear of being powerlessness, not having my body in control, and just unable to walk. And I was able to relate to certain people who are disabled, and I had to come to a point of like appreciation and gratitude of the body and where I am. And so I had to shift the energy. So that was part of my soul journey, and it was all planned. But at the time of going through it, for example, the physical pain and the situations, it was extremely painful. But then it was all for me to realize, or to come to the light out of the dark experiences. So basically, I forgot why I was sharing this story for some reason. So the source of iron. So when I looked into different types of foods and the ingredients and the nutrients that they hold, certain plant-based foods contain a lot of iron, like dates, for example, or what is it? Figs, for example. Things of that nature, certain nuts and seeds. And then I'm in a way I'm testing it out, because and then what I learned was that even though we eat these like nutrients, when our organs and the systems are not functioning properly, we are not able to absorb them. Also, there are a lot of parasites inside our gut from all the foods that we've been exposed to, and it's preventing us from absorbing all the nutrients. So there are a lot of things, but I'm just going to ramble. And so I always had this like really thin nails, and always like breaking easily and all of that. So when I'm eating in a certain way and I'm doing certain nuts and seeds properly, then my nails are very strong, and I could feel that, I could sense it, and they are. And then when it goes out of because I'm moving, things are not available, and sometimes it's not easy for me to cook, but I try to cook, or I have been cooking for about like 98-99% of the time throughout all my travels to keep this diet. And I get a lot of temptations, but every time I go out and try certain foods, I have to suffer afterwards for some reason. So okay, so I'm having this together with, I made some, this is a little bit cooked with heat, black mushroom and with the local oyster mushroom, and a bit of leftover vegetables I just put in there. And I use a lot of different spices here, coriander powder and some turmeric, garlic powder, and I use Celtic sea salt for iodine. Yes, and then for this one I used, a lot of like Indian Asian spices like cardamom, cinnamon, turmeric, and I've learned about all these different spices, and also cayenne pepper from my research. I grew up eating a lot of spicy food, and I love spicy food, like, because in this lifetime I grew up as Korean. So I learned that when used properly, cayenne pepper can help with blood flow, and rather than like regular chilies can create certain blockages. So I'm using cayenne pepper. Also, what did I put in here? And then dried basil and all these herbs. So I just feel good, and I feel the difference. And then with this one, I have tried, well, I enjoy exploring different sauces. So what I also had to realize was all the soy sauce or paste or ketchup and mayo and all this different oyster sauce, they contain high level of chemicals for preservatives, MSG, as flavor enhancers. And so it's all taking a toll on our body, and no wonder a lot of people are experiencing, and especially in Korea, and more people are being diagnosed with cancer. And I've noticed that in the past, since COVID, it's gotten a lot, the rate has gotten a lot more. And then before, all these medical insurance companies are making money out of it, because before, everything, a lot of the packages excluded cancer, but now they're including all this cancer because a lot of people are having that, so they're profiting off of that sickness that people are experiencing, and they're feeding all these medications, and then the food that we are eating is contaminated, and so on and so forth. So the more you wake up to like this, how the matrix is working, I understand why we needed to forget in order to go into that experimentation of darkness, because if we remembered everything and just saw, I would have died out of rage and anger already. Because how could they do this to people, or this is sick or something like that, I would have the reaction. But we needed to forget and not know, and come to a point of realization, awakening ourselves. So at large, I'm just laughing about it, because all these experiences, when I look at it from a really like taking a back stance, it's really interesting. At one point, like soon after I woke up, I was getting a lot of this information by my spirit team, even though I'm not doing research, and it's popping up and showing up everywhere. And one of them was actually, I forgot what I was gonna say, so I'm just gonna let it. If it comes up, it'll come up, I believe. So I'm curious, what about you guys? You know, if anyone is resonating, what have you been going through? What are some of the things that you realized and learned from going through those experiences? And I've noticed, as I'm experiencing different cultures, living in Egypt, Greece, Malaysia, Thailand here, I'm in Malaysia here. A lot of systems now, like, media have been programming people to look up to the Western way of living, or how the US is making things as if it's like superior or glamorizing things. So they do not see the blessings within their land, and they chase after. It's all part of the programming, the glamour that is creating this illusion. But I used to also be part of it. In Korea, it's the same. So that's why a lot of the Hollywood actors, especially the Marvel movies, they come to Korea, because Korean people love to, they have a lot of affection and love in general, and kindness. But it's getting, the more the society is getting in a way well developed, the more it becomes about the money, and people are losing that side of that human connection, or that kindness, or the genuine reciprocity. But it is taking place everywhere, I notice. Indonesia and here in a certain neighborhoods where, you know, it's considered like a certain income level or something like that. And they have made people look up to those lifestyles. And all the K-pop stars are now being invited to all these high fashion shows in Milan and Paris. And personally, I love fashion and art and design and all that. But it's really interesting for me to observe. That's their tactic now, to get to like MZ generation, to have the centralized system where I notice a lot of these products, their fabrics are not high quality. It's not cotton, or it's not it's gonna harm their body. It's polyester. It's a lot of like, it's the superficiality that we were chasing after, or these bags. And I'm not saying, you know, all these bags are bad, because as a person who loves design and appreciate all this like objects or artifacts, they're really high quality. But at the same time, just the whole system and how they're programming people through celebrities and with this K-pop bands. They start out when they're like late teen, like 17, 18, or sometimes even younger, and they're very innocent and pure and just high energy. And you see how the system is putting them into a certain programming, and they start to play the role. And later, some celebrities in Korea, they disappear because they had to deal with their anxiety or depression issues. And when they are healed, they come out once again and they talk about it, because they now are healed and empower themselves a little bit, sharing their story. But this is ongoing. And I know that a lot of souls in that industry are they have soul contracts to have that experience, but to expose certain areas in the system. And especially the past few days, a lot of things about the entertainment industry have been coming to me with information about the centralized power structure there that's preventing people from sovereign power within, especially with a lot of creative spirits in the arts. That if you sign the contract, we will make you a star, but then that's like a trap. Once they sign, they have to enslave themselves to a lot of things that they are feeling miserable with, but due to the contracts, they have to carry on, and it's creating a toll on them on a psychological level, on an emotional level, mental level. And some of this is like soul contracted, but when you look at it, it's really interesting. And this what I'm getting is a lot of the artists are going to come out and then speak about the truth or the dark side of behind the scenes of all the glamour and all of that. So actually this is my first time. So some people may, like in Western culture, it's not good to speak when you have food inside, or all these table manners, right? In Korea, we don't have that. We have different kinds of things. Like you're not supposed to hold the spoon with the something together, or you have to wait until elderly person eats first, and all of that. It is all different. So based on these like cultural traditions and rituals, people create a lot of judgments. They're not supposed to do that. Why she or he is like eating or in a certain way or that, and it's taking away a lot of people's energies, because they're using their energy to debate and judge and hate on certain people, which is a lot of energy, especially anger, hatred. It takes a lot of energy. And so while they could use that energy to create for themselves, which is an empowered state, they're using that to that have that attention away from people to certain things, issues, all the problems that's going on in the world, and wars and conflicts. And people worry about it, debate over it, fight over it, cry over it, right? Which is part of the matrix programming. And so we have been, but we are going to slowly get more ideas to or suddenly, well, I would say get confused with what kind of life you want to live. And how you want to live. I forgot to mention, I put in some papaya seeds inside as well. And from my experience, papaya seeds have really helped me with the gut issue. So whenever I get papaya, I eat with them. Whenever I make smoothie, I mix the papaya seeds together. For me, I tried a little bit, and then for me it's okay to use like a spoonful, for example, like a tablespoonful. So I'm doing that, and I'm just like, I was thinking to myself, like at the end of 2021, I do all these experiments, but if I die, I'm meant to die. So I'm just gonna do that, but not follow. Since I know, and I'm now aware, I'm not gonna follow this system. So that's why, I'm experimenting all this, and I may develop certain things later, which is part of the plan. So one of the things about all this awakening to the soul aspect is to not be afraid of death, or less afraid of death. And a lot of the times we are faced with death all the time whenever we deal with fear or anxiety issues. Deep down, it's about letting go of certain memories that we have kept in our head, in our brain, in our cellular memory, it's stored in our heart, it's stored in our cells within the body, in the brain. And after the surgery at the end of 2021, I remember like meditating all day before and after surgery. Every time I was going through examination and recovery, I noticed a lot of things, and I just discovered, and I wanted to use that to really see the truth of things. So I was really grateful that I don't have to be afraid of death like I used to before. But still, I was afraid of the pain, physical pain, because I have to feel it. And it's painful. So it's really interesting, this journey that we are on. So I think that's what I'm gonna share for today because I want to focus on eating actually and then enjoy this. So this is what they want me to share a little bit, so I'm sharing, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. Oh, and by the way, for the sauce here, I used it's all organic here, organic ingredients that I was able to get. Like for example, when I was in Kota Kinabalu or Siam Reap, they didn't have a lot of like the organic grocery section because it's more like the countryside. It's more the cities that they have all this readily available, which is interesting. That I just had all this food from the groceries right away, but here, so-called labeled organic, I'm getting all these ingredients, and then I was able to get the organic balsamic vinegar. So I like to put a little bit of it mixed with the agave as the sweetener, agave syrup. So I enjoy this taste because I mix having the soy sauce, but all the soy sauce that I had been checking out, they contain certain things that I do not want to put into my body. So even though it's organic, even though they said it's like vegan organic, I recommend, these are just marketing terms. So whatever that you choose, you want to, everybody has a different choice. So when someone says, well, this is okay, and a little bit of MSG is not harmful, and I don't have the time, and it's convenient and relatively healthy, and that's fine. Like especially like canned foods, I've been avoiding all those kind of like for example like chickpeas. I buy raw chickpeas and boil them rather than buying a canned chickpeas, for example, even though they say organic. For example, things of that nature, because I'm trying to heal the hormonal flow, allow the system to flow and communicate properly. So because I sacrifice a lot of my body, and I unintentionally, unconsciously neglected a lot of my health when I was in the matrix programming, right? I was programmed to chase after certain things that's outside of me, and that taking care of my body and slow eating and slow cooking, like all this process, were causing me a lot of inconveniences, or it's taking up a lot of my time, or it's not efficient because I have to get a lot of things done. It's all part of the matrix. It's part of the programming that, for me, what I experienced was that we were being constantly living under some sort of pressure to perform, pressure to be a certain way and live a certain way. That's not really part of what I really want and what is really meant for me. So waking up is a process of realizing this pattern, and seeing through the truth, through the illusions, through the programming. So one source is food, and especially with a lot of this higher light codes and leveling of the collective consciousness, we also have to ground a lot of these high frequency energies. The grounding, as we have to come to the reality of this life at the same time, because we have to live this life, not just live in our head and just the higher spirit or higher realm. So it's about, again, a lot of the balancing that we are experimenting with. So let's remind ourselves to have fun with this ride. And the meaning that we put in is the meaning that with the reality that we get. So when we start to perceive it as something fun, then rather than complain or at times be very cynical about it, we can shift into higher vibration and turn anxiety and stress into joy and inspiration of living. So well, I hope you enjoyed eating with me or watching me eat or talk, however it is. I hope this helps someone, supports someone, in a positive light, whatever that is. And I appreciate you for being here. And with that, I wish you a beautiful weekend, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye.